Hello, Alex Lafkus here. I want to talk to you a little bit about, we're kind of transitioning now. So we're going to talk a little bit about late summer trout fishing. Um, I've been out there and I've seen it kind of start switching over now where it was, the bigger dries and stuff were really working good earlier. Now I'm starting to see that change. Smaller dries, streamers, etc. So couple things to think about. What we've got going on now is we finally have low clear water here in the upper Midwest, at least in Michigan. Um, what I've been seeing is this transition where all the fish are funneled into the middles. Some of the rivers have been fishing different. Seems like around the Grayling area, the water had been a little higher, which had fish a little scattered. Now I'm seeing them all river centers, deep pits. So this opens you up to a few different things too. Um, One, it's the smaller dry fly stuff. It's inch long, 3/4 inch, whatever size, 2x long 14s. I'll have a little piece of video on some of these flies later. You're going to start seeing those flying ants, next rainy day or something. That next afternoon you should see them. You'll probably get like it's typically the black ants first, and then you start seeing the smaller cinnamons. The other thing that's going to start coming up, and this will be more end of the month and into September, is going to be the late season ISO, which is a size 14. You never really see them in big numbers, but the blind fishing of it can be great. And you're running a lot of your standard ISO patterns, just blind fishing them. In addition, a 14 Adams is phenomenal for it. So that's a lot of the dry fly stuff I'm going to be doing, is just kind of mixing up your smaller terrestrials based on conditions and going from into the other stuff. The other thing that can be extremely effective this time of year as those fish all funnel to the centers is that hopper dropper rig. It seems like fish are less apt to come up now. It's been, you're 3 weeks, 3 weeks removed from a lot of bigger dry flies that really had their attention up on the top. So now, running that hopper dropper stuff down the center, in the riffles, in the pockets, that's going to be real effective. Typically, I will run a bigger dry, which doesn't get eaten that much, to run some of the bigger nymphs, like the Pat's rubber legs, stuff like that, that can draw some bigger bites. But if you're just into a sheer volume thing, smaller, like go to your 16s and 14s, Princeys, pheasant tails, whatever it is. It's, it doesn't seem to, I guess I don't notice much of a difference, but I guess if I did it 100 days a year, I probably would, but I don't. So, and you'll catch a lot of fish doing the hopper dropper thing. One of the biggest things to think about in Michigan is we got so much wood. So you're going to make a decision at some point. Am I going to pick at wood and structure and stuff, or am I going to fish the centers? If you're going to fish the centers, fish the centers, fish the deeper water, fish the deep bubble lines with the hopper dropper rig. Trying to do both and throw the wood, you're going to lose a box of flies. And I don't know. I feel like just focus on one or the other. Typically earlier in the morning or lower light conditions, you're going to have more fish in the middle till about 9:30, 10, which is typical. And then you're going to start seeing stuff go deeper and into wood and stuff like that as the sun gets a little higher. So the hopper dropper thing is always extremely effective whenever you get that really low water, as fish use more of the centers. Look for the riffles, look for the pockets. A lot of the ensemble sets up, got to get away from the weed beds, but like you've got some mid-river pockets and humps that are going to be great for it. Pierre Marquette is phenomenal for it. Basically all of our little rivers. The Boardman's great with a lot of gradient for it. The I used to like the middle Manistee, but with all the stockers in there now, it's a little, whatever. Yeah, it's great and effective, but good luck finding any quality fish. It's thanks to Mark Tonello. So, whatever. Wet skunks obviously are a big go-to. We had a day the other day, and it was like, we really wanted to try to get a good fish on a hopper and couldn't. And then the second we switched to a wet skunk, it was just, we never landed a good fish, but we were seeing fish every few casts. Had a trip yesterday, and we just started with a streamer. Started earlier in the morning, so take advantage of the low light. And it's devastating. Like, you can do a half day and see 50 to 75 fish throwing a small streamer. A lot of them are small. You're going to see some teeners. You might get a shot at a bigger one. But it's what it is. Those fish will chase that minnow pattern. It's really a lot of minnow stuff now and that's just kind of how they feed. You got young of the year stuff big enough. The minnows that spawned in the spring, they've got little babies out. Like it's, man, it's a big time minnow thing. And I'm fishing a few different flies, but it's a lot of white, chartreuse and white, gray and white, yellow white, olive white. You know, like I'm really focused on the minnow stuff. So and it's, I mean, it's a lot of fun. Rivers are low and clear. You just go have fun. You take your 5-weight or your 6-weight with a 150 and pitch it around, throw stuff unweighted if you need. The nice thing about unweighted versus weighted, if you're running a sink tip right now, is you see a fish boil or swipe at it, you can pause it and you're not going to snag bottom. You know, if you're fishing something with weight, I'd recommend that, you know, on a floating line, or maybe just bead chain, something that doesn't get it down too fast. We were fishing these little things, which is like a little egghead minnow thing I've been dinking with, you know, in that chartreuse and white, and that was been pretty good. I've been seeing that chartreuse work pretty good lately. That's going to be a lot more of your morning stuff. We were out there, there's still trichos and pseudocleons around, which are, you know, we used to refer to the pseudocleon as the green curse. It's about a size 26, bluing olive. Fish get real picky on them, blah, 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 whatever. So we just threw a streamer all morning in it. Those bugs showed up about 9:30 or so. We've had a few cold nights. That's what's kind of triggering some of this. You know, there's going to be warm spells, but then the cold nights kind of trigger the rest of it. When you're getting those cold nights, I do tend to see that late afternoon dry fly bite a little better. And, you know, we're losing a lot of minutes of sunlight every day right now. So you're going to start getting to where, you know, 3 o'clock starts being a little different light angle. And you know, you'll have some better dry fly fishing late afternoons now, as compared to what was happening, you know, more in June and the first half of July, where it's too much light penetration till right at dark. You're going to start seeing that change really in through August, mid-August and late August. It's a drastic change. So be prepared. You know, I take my smaller dries. I throw a lot of streamers this time of year. You know, just small stuff. Have fun. Go catch fish. It's beautiful. These cold nights got every river at the right water temps. I need to tie some smaller bucktails because, you know, I like fishing them and I don't have enough colors. You never have enough. Anyway, next clip's going to be some up close stuff on some of these fly patterns. Get out there, enjoy it. Like, subscribe. I appreciate it. Keeps me motivated. Questions in the comments. I'll get back to you. And enjoy it. You know, it's going quick right now. We're starting to get, you know, we got a little bit of time and we're in September and we got a nice 4 to 6 week period here where it kind of stays summer-ish. And it's awesome. It's great. It's great fun to fish this time of year. Just go enjoy it. Rivers are beautiful. Thanks. Here's a look at some late summer flies that I always make sure I have, you know, some chubby Chernobyl stuff, smaller. Like, I think the ones I buy from the shops are size 14s. I tie them on a Tiemco 108 when I tie them. There's some, you know, size 14, 16 ants. I've really gone more to the deer hair wings on them. And then your late season ISO stuff, which is a 14. Oh, little piece of marabou there. And I tie them in all the standard, you know, ISO type patterns, like the Comparadon. And then some sort of hen wing stuff or Borcher stuff as well. There you can see the penny. So that's, you know, a size reference for people. When I'm throwing some of the nymph stuff and doing the hopper dropper thing, I run a lot of like bigger Pat's rubber leg stuff. Those are, you know, 8s maybe. But you're going to have them in different sizes. So I've got some depending on what dry I'm throwing. I've got some with just a little bit of lead wrap to them. I got some with beads, small beads, and then I got some bigger beads in case I'm actually doing legitimate nymphing, which I don't do a ton of, but I do a few days guiding it. And then I always keep like some pheasant tails, you know, the Princey, Copper John, just in case they're not going on that bigger nymph. They'll eat that stuff. It's one of those things where you go and you try it and then switch up as need be. You know, something like a pheasant tail tied with olive pheasant tail will look good for that ISO nymph too, so you can always dump that off the back. Obviously wet skunks, I carry them in a few different colors, but you know, standard issue. I fish the bigger ones a lot too, the ones I tie with the shank off the back. just to avoid, injuring smaller fish. They seem like they avoid it a little bit. A lot of the streamer stuff I'm going to do this time of year is small minnow stuff. With the clear water, the chartreuse and whites, the whites, stuff like that, but real minnow-based stuff. Early morning lower light, I like it, just marabou, no flash or very limited flash. Zoo cougars, very effective this time of year too. Anything with a deer hair head, that wobble vibration can really get them going in the warmer water. And then when the sun gets high midday, when trying to generate bites, just a standard sparkle minnow can be the ticket some days. So, but you can see a lot of 1 to 2 inch, size 1, size 2s, you're in that 2, 3, small, very small stuff. And it just is so effective. You can see a ton of fish. So that's just kind of a look at, some of the stuff I carry.